What do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
Hey guys, welcome to Good Vibes Sunday. So we took a little break, but we are back and happy to be back. So for today, our topic is going to be about how to sell with soul. So not just how to sell with soul, but we're talking in terms of real estate. So how do you pick a real estate agent who sells with soul, and how do you become a real estate agent who sells with soul? So today I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to be interviewing my husband, Adam.
Right here.
So everybody knows I call my husband Meatballs. So I'm going to go ahead and interview him and ask him just some questions, and we're going to begin on how to pick your agent who sells with soul. So going along with the idea of finding an agent who sells with soul, I want to quote Gary Vee, who, if you don't know who he is, I talked about him, Adam and I both talked about him a couple podcasts ago where we talked about him being the absolute guru of social media. And during one of his interviews with Ryan Serhant, a guy who is a broker out in New York, he has a show on Bravo. It's called $1 Million Listing. You should check it out. But he was basically being asked by Gary Vee. He said, to quote Gary Vee, he goes, "I would never choose an agent or a broker based on years of experience, yet so many people do." So babe, okay, so I'm going to ask you, and so people know out there how to go about choosing an agent. How should people, and this is outside of ourselves, so just you and I, mom and dad, wife and husband, we're looking for a home, so stepping outside of our professions and being in the home industry. However, knowing what we know now, all the things that we know now, how would you suggest that people go about choosing an agent who sell with soul?
Hey guys, how you guys doing? I think first and foremost, I think you guys should absolutely interview us. Just interview us. Let us know what you think. What are we doing, or what are we doing in the area? Ask us how long you've been in Riverside. These are some of the questions that you should ask. And from those questions, you're going to really get a feeling of, am I passionate for it, or am I just here for the check? And if a guy's just here, you're like, well, you know what? Just what about this home? 4 bedrooms, 3 bath, $499, And you're like, yeah, but I'm curious of what, do you go to school out here? Do you have friends? Do you have kids in the area? Just kind of get a feel, and then you're really, with those questions, you're going to start to feel a little bravado and feel out the agent, and then that's where it starts. And then go to your open house or ask friends and family what agent you've been with and interview that guy. And I think that's where you start going from. And then at the end, talk to your spouse, talk to your boyfriend, talk to your daughter, talk to whoever it is, and then really get a feel. Goes, who do you really like? And
would you say that they should go with their gut on this?
I think you should go with your gut 110%, because even with myself, I can feel myself talking to clients and I'm like, I'm just not feeling with him. He doesn't feel like he's my type of person. I feel like he could be somebody else's. And it's not like I'm not going to stop selling a home or anything, but I feel his personality, her personality, their personality is better off with somebody else.
So you brought up a really good point, Adam, babe, meatball. So would you say, because I know that we know that a lot of agents, or not even agents, people looking for an agent will sometimes just kind of go with someone that they were either referred to, or they say, oh, well, my neighbor used them, right? So they should be or must be great, right? They sold their house. But would you say that every single agent, right now you kind of touched on this, I guess you're answering it for me, but I guess just to dig a little deeper into that, would you say that a lot of people should kind of steer away from just pure referral, or is that something that is okay to do? What's your opinion on that?
I think as an agent, referrals are amazing.
Right.
But I think at the same time, these agents that have been in the business for so long have become complacent. And with this complacency of length of time in the business, sometimes there's the lackluster to keep going, and it could be that they might not be working as hard for you, or, they might not be pushing as hard for the guy that really wants to create this new career, business.
Would you say that kind of goes along with the lines of does an agent do this because they're passionate about it, or is it about the check? Because, I mean, just to give an example, right? So let's give an example of that one guy. So once upon a time, Adam and I, we were out at dinner. We went out to Chili's and fancy. No, but we came across a former, would you say colleague or not even colleague? It was like a former coworker that we used to work with Adam. Co-agent. Yeah, who started being an agent around, years ago, being an agent around the same time that Adam was. Just starting off. And so we came across him and his wife, and it was really nice to see him. But I had known, and Adam knew, that he had quit, basically, that he was no longer with the brokerage. And with that, he seemed very defeated. So when we asked him, how's it going? How has everything been? And I remember Adam coming home and telling me, man, I feel really bad for this guy, without naming any names. He's like, but he just always didn't seem, uppity at work. And he always kind of had something negative to say, or he was complaining or whatever it was. He didn't seem very happy, right? He didn't seem happy to be there because, let's face it, real estate is hard. I mean, especially when you first start off, it is.
It's a grind. You have to find people. Well,
you have to find people. You're starting from scratch. I mean, some people are gifted and they just come right in, and they have family or friends that are right away referred to them. But when not like us, like we had no one, like we had to start from nothing. And so did this person, right? So for them to have to really get out there and hustle, and to say he was a little older too. So I know that might have played a part, because it was, he was kind of wanting more of a comfort right away. Yeah. Anyway, not to steer too far away, but when we asked him how is it going, he said his response was, well, I have a great job now. And I get paid real well. And his wife was right behind him. She's like, yeah, we don't have to, dish out money. Because that's another thing that a lot of people don't know is being a real estate agent, you right off the bat, you're paying fees and
sweat equity a lot. And there's a lot of sweat equity that goes in the business.
Marketing that comes out of your own pocket. And so a lot of times, and in particular with this person, was that he wasn't passionate. Right?
Yeah. So it's like if you're passionate, you stick through it. Absolutely. You stick through it tooth and nail, and you stick through it, and you pull through at the end. Then
otherwise it's excruciating.
Yeah. Because in the beginning you really get paid nothing for the whole quote unquote thing for real estate. You see no returns for at least 6 months in the business.
Right. And a lot of people don't know that. Yeah. Oh my God, do people not have a clue that
you're eating weenies and top ramen for 6 months?
Absolutely. I mean, when I say that we went through tough times, and we went through tough times during our transition, but we knew in the end that it would be worth it. We knew that as hard as we worked and as much as we put into it, something had to give. And if it didn't give, we just work harder because we love it, right? Adam and I didn't want to just go clock in somewhere and do something that we're miserable at. We'd rather just kind of bite the bullet. Life circumstances kind of put us in a situation where we could, and we went for it. And so, and where I'm going with this, and I'm not trying to sit here and be like, oh, we're so passionate and they're not.
Pick us.
No. It's not about that. You can be anywhere in the nation if you're listening. We're just trying to help you all kind of understand the other side
dynamic.
of it.
The dynamic is really what it is really get a feel of your agent and see how much work they're really going out there. You've seen your agent. Times are changing. There's social media. There's you have your phone calls. You have your marketing materials. What is your agent doing for you? And really see what he's doing in your area, or what does he feel like? Does he feel like his personality, his aura, his soul? And I think that's really what this whole little podcast today is going to be about, is just feel that energy. Person, feel that energy.
Absolutely.
Of what the person is.
So going along those lines, would you say that a lot of people feel either guilty or awkward about interviewing somebody? Wouldn't you agree that this is the absolute biggest investment of people's entire lives, right?
It's a house. It's $300,000 $400,000 for a house in California for a first-time home buyer.
Right. I mean, or whatever it is. It doesn't matter.
And then it's $1 million for everybody else out here. So it's a huge purchase.
A huge investment or sell. I mean,
or sell. Exactly. Or sell.
So right. The responsibility is a huge one, and it shouldn't be taken lightly, and it shouldn't be taken lightly either which way. So with that, I'm saying that have the
audacity.
Not even audacity, I guess you can say audacity, but just understand your right to interview your agent.
Yeah.
Understand that you absolutely have that right, because it is such a big investment.
And I don't even sometimes think it's even an interview. It's just a phone call. It's just a talk.
When
Get to know them.
Well, that's an interview to me.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, no, but to me, it's like, yeah, you don't have to sit them down and be like, what is your previous employer? It's not like that.
Go to school.
Yeah, can we have some references? No, but what I mean by that is that when you get to know this person, get to know your agents and go with your gut. Don't just go with someone because somebody pointed them out or because you found them on Yelp and they have amazing reviews, or at all based on experience. Experience is, it's a double-edged sword. It could be great, but with that also comes the fact that they probably have a ton of other clients, and then that means less attention for you. That's one. Two, is that a lot of times with experience is that they get comfortable. They have so much business coming to them. So the drive, that passion, that lust for what they do, and this is not to say every single person, but for the most part, from what we've experienced, knowing people or agents or brokers that are, very experienced, is they lose that hunger, to really fight. And that goes along with, are you doing it for the check? Or not you, but is your agent doing it for the check, or are they doing it for the passion? Because if they're doing it for the passion, no matter what, they're always going to find the answers. They're always going to fight, and they're always going to be successful. So,
because first and foremost, it's a customer.
It's a customer.
It's a customer.
It's all
about you guys.
Yeah.
It's all about you guys. And if we're not doing it for you, then we're not doing it right. And then that agent's gonna end up dying. And what you really
not dying, but
the agent's gonna end up falling off the bridge.
Right. He's gonna end up trying something else, quitting, because that's the biggest thing. If you're not doing it, or I keep saying you, I mean the agent. If the agent's not doing it for the passion, they're gonna end up not doing it at all, right? So, if you're keep saying you. If the agent is check driven, then it's never gonna be a good thing. So let's move on to talking about how you should be if you want to sell with soul. So if you're an agent and you want to sell with soul, right? Because it's transitioning times right now. Times are changing. Mm-hmm. So let's switch gears, and instead of talking to people looking for an agent, let's talk about the agent. Let's talk about how, if you want to be an agent who sells with soul, how does that mindset begin? But before we go there, we did forget to mention, and we really want you to know that we want to go back to the fact that the paperwork, so the transaction, a lot of people happen to think that, if I pick an agent who has tons of experience, for some reason they have like magical powers or something, they're going to make things happen. And that's not necessarily the truth, because the transaction, meaning the paperwork, the process, is always the same, okay? Now, there are sometimes some circumstances where things you differentiate, like they get a little rocky, or...
Well, I think there's boxes on there where you can... The buyer pays it, the seller pays it.
Right.
There's different boxes on there that can, swing some money here and there.
But at the end of it all,
it's disclosures, it's the earthquake report, it's the same stuff.
Without going down the list of this humongous packet,
there's a lot.
There is a lot. No, I should know. I used to be a transaction coordinator, so meaning that I did all the paperwork for real estate agents for years. Like before we even got into this, my entire adult life, I worked in real estate. So it kind of happened that when Adam got into it, it was pretty convenient. But the whole point is that a lot of times these agents aren't even doing their paperwork. They would hire people like me who come in and do a lot of their transactions. And so because it is so transactional. Now, like I said, a lot of people don't realize that, and they think that with experience comes these magical powers that you create these circumstances that make you have more success. And that's not the case. So we wanted to address that because in reality, the transaction's the same. And the only difference between every single agent is the passion that drives them. So if there's a passion behind the agent, then no matter what, they're going to find the answers. They're going to
Find the answer, they're going to negotiate a little bit more.
They're going to be in your corner no matter what, okay? So they will go down for you, with you, no matter what, because it's a passion. Now, like, this is why we reiterate this, and we may be crazy. You guys may be like, God, these people are out of their mind, but like, we don't care because we want to really instill that it is about the passion versus the check, okay? Because the check comes with success. No matter what you're doing, this isn't just in real estate, this is in life. If you do something with passion, the check will follow. That is not a question, it is a statement. So, passion versus a check. Always have that in mind when you're going to interview your agent. Are they doing it for passion? Are they really in love with what they're doing? Or are they doing this just for that check? All right, guys. All right, so let's move along to the agent. So we are now moving along to the agent. We're talking to you guys who are agents out there. All right, guys. So on the other end of this, talking to all you agents out there. So here's the thing, guys. What we just discussed about clients picking an agent versus just picking a brokerage is nothing new, okay? Times are changing. We're not reinventing the wheel here. There is evidence out there that clients are now choosing their agents based off of more of a personal connection, you know, especially with social media emerging and becoming a big, huge thing. A lot of clients have now access to other agents' lives. It becomes more about, you know, their family, their dynamics of how they go about their days and their business and how they live their life. So with that, with these changes, I'm going to ask you, babe. So times are changing. It's no longer just transactional in the whole real estate game. In your opinion, what mindset do you believe agents should have during these times of change?
I think you should really just embrace who you are.
Okay.
Embrace who you are as a person. You're a character. Each person's a character. If you're funny, embrace how funny you are. If you are athletic, embrace how athletic you are. There's a niche for everybody, and really double down on who you are as a person, because in the end, it's not going to be about your brokerage. It's going to be about you. And with that being said, it's just focus on yourself and really put that out there. Really put it on your social media platforms. Really put that on advertisements.
So would you say that social media plays such a big part? Because there's a lot of agents out there that aren't on social media.
Yeah, it's right? not. And I've talked to countless agents out there, and I'm like, guys, man, I mean, these Facebook ads, you put them out there, and they're like, well, I'm going to put them in a magazine. And I'm like, a magazine? Who's reading this magazine?
Right.
I mean, you can be in there, but I mean, there's so much more out there for you to be in there. And I think really is to really focus on the character of you as a person for people to really connect with. And I think that's where bridge your personality to your business. Bridge your personality to your business. It's not like where it was 5-10 years ago where you couldn't drink a beer on social media. If you're going out for a happy hour, it'd be like that same guy that's a client might be coming home from happy hour too, and it might be a perfect time for you guys to meet up for a drink.
Right.
It's just really, it's so much social now, and I think everybody has to be really social. And I think that's where it's a beauty in what we are doing is this, how social can you be?
Right. So how about brokers? Would you say the old school broker is going out of style? I mean,
absolutely. Just kind of what I was saying is that the old school brokers are going out of style. It's going to change. It's going to be more about the agent and the team.
Okay.
And with that being said, it's just there's going to always
didn't Ryan Serhant touch on this too?
Yeah.
So Ryan Serhant, I talked about him in the beginning of this podcast here. Ryan Serhant said that old school brokers they're going out of style, and he said it's because it's becoming about the agent. So what we're going to be seeing more and more of are teams. Mm-hmm. We're going to be seeing more teams, and we're going to be seeing agents, like for example, the agency. we talk about
Yeah.
the agency, like out in LA, for example. So Million Dollar Brokers, Million Dollar Listing has a show based out of New York, but they also have one in LA. And with that, Mauricio, I believe is his name.
Mauricio Mwansky.
Okay, so Umansky, he started a brokerage out in LA called The Agency. And why I'm bringing this up is because it's something that's spreading like wildfire. I mean,
Yeah.
I see it now. I see it in Orange County. I see it in New York. You see it in a lot of metropolitan cities. And with that always reaches us, these inland cities. And it's going to become a thing. I mean, it's happening. It's just a matter of time. So why am I bringing this up? Well, The Agency is completely based off of the agent. They say, they have this whole policy and motto where they say, no assholes, no assholes. What does that mean? Well, it means that they don't want robotic transactional agents. They want
pushing for the transaction.
Yeah.
Not caring, not personal.
Yeah. So then that means that this brokerage is catering more to their agents. They care, they feel like if we take care of our agents, that our agents are going to be better people, right?
They're going to take care of their clients.
They're going to take care of their clients. And so, this is obviously a big brokerage, but we're also seeing is a lot of smaller teams that are taking over, and it's becoming more personal. You're seeing 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 agents, and it's becoming less about your big box Remax, your Coldwells, your Keller Williams, et cetera, et cetera. It's becoming less about them and more about the actual agent, right? All right, so let's move along to how about give, ask versus just demand.
Yeah, it's like a lot of people out there, going back to social media, is that it's really, when you're posting, post a little bit of family, post a little bit about, something that you're doing out in the field and you're in the community, and then say, hey, we're selling this beautiful home down on Mango Drive.
What do you mean give though? What does that mean? Do you mean by give? Do you mean content? Like
give content. I think give.
But what is content? Like for people that don't know. So let's say there's an agent right now listening and he's saying, well, Adam and Austri, what does content mean? Like, what do you guys mean by give? What do I give?
I think give a little bit of your personality, give a little bit of your character, give a little bit about who you are. I think it's really about...
I don't think that's... Do you think it should be just about that? I'm sorry to completely disregard what you're saying, babe. I'm not. But what I'm saying is, wouldn't you agree that you want to give information for free too,
Absolutely.
to clients?
I think that it's a little bit of everything.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's, you give info,
okay,
you give your personality, you give a little bit of your family, and I think you got to mix it up every day. But it's really about... And that's really creating your character as a person, and you're becoming knowledge-based, and it eventually is going to be really develop this character of who you are, and that's going to be really something that people are really going to be drawn to. Yeah,
I agree, babe. I think that, instead of always, because, the old school way of selling, marketing is always ask, demand, right? It's never about give. Here's the thing that we always say: the more we are able to grow, the more we're able to give, right? So I feel like as an agent, it's your responsibility to grow so you can give more. So go educate yourself on not just real estate, but maybe find out who your true audience is. Yeah, right?
That's exact. Figure out your niche. Like if you're
if
you're an athlete or you're a workout guy, give them workouts that you've been doing. If you're an interior designer,
think about this, babe. Imagine, do you remember a long time ago when we first started Leone, how we sat down on that couch over there on that sofa and we started to really hone down. We're like, okay, we got to have our market, our audience, right? Our target market, and say, who are we talking to?
Yeah.
Who are we targeting? So there's a lot of people, I guess you can say, or not even just real estate agents, but there's a lot of old way marketing, which is mass marketing. Yeah. What is mass marketing? That is when you're marketing to everyone. And that is not the case today. Look, you guys, we have social media today, which is the absolute mecca of marketing today. Why? Because you're direct marketing. You're in people's phones. You're directly in the palm of their hand. And versus being on an ad or a big billboard where you're just hoping that, out of all the masses of people that see you, that someone's going to like your face and call you. Like, no, now you absolutely have the power to connect with someone who has common ground. This doesn't mean you're going to connect with everyone, right? Not everyone's going to like you.
There's so many people out there. You can't handle everyone.
Yeah, and you don't want everybody. I always say it's like, if people don't like what we're putting out, well then, okay, those aren't our clients, right? There's going to be someone else out there for them. So as an agent, I always say is make sure that you know who you want. Who do you want to talk to?
Yeah.
Right?
But also with that, avoid the politics, avoid the religion.
Well, that's with posting. That's with posting though, right?
Yeah.
So, but obviously with posting, you don't want to ever post about anything sensitive. Yeah. But what I'm trying to say is find out who your target audience first is. Establish that, because that is the number one rule. Okay? So once you know who is your target audience, then try to establish a character. We always say that, like, we listen to Russell Brunson. I don't know if you all know who he is. To me, he's an absolute guru when it comes to marketing, especially online marketing. And Russell Brunson says that everybody likes a charismatic leader, right? So become this charismatic leader. Embody this person that you want your audience to like. You want your audience to hear, right? And then once you've got that in place, then you want to be able to provide that audience with information that they want or they need. So for example, Adam and we focus on
I think the biggest thing is I personally, it's a peeve of mine, just don't be real estate. We are people too. Well,
that's the biggest thing.
I think I want to say that.
Absolutely. Don't be
real estate. Be, like I said, be more. If you are in Chicago and you love the Cubs, really put that out that you're a Cubs fanatic, and you're gonna probably find a bunch of Cubs fans that absolutely love you, and they're going to shoot you texts and calls.
And you find common ground with them.
You find common ground.
Right.
And this is what you're really trying to do. The bottom line, you're trying to find common ground with your clients.
And once you do, you provide them with information that is valuable information for them. For example, Adam and we focus on millennial young families. Why do we focus on millennial young families? Because we are. Right? We are that. So we understand them. We're not going to go. We embody it. We're not faking it. We're not pretending, to be it. We are it. So like I said, don't go mass marketing to every single person out there, because then it's
going to become generic.
Then it's generic.
Who are you talking to?
Yeah. You're not marketing anybody in particular. So for us to market the young families, that was established very early on. We knew that, right? So when we go ahead and we throw any information out there, I always think, or Adam always thinks, what would we want to know, right? Essentially, people our age are either first-time home buyers, or they've already married, have kids, they're just having their kids, they're just getting engaged, they're buying their first home, or they're probably moving up a little bit. So we're within that bracket of life events, right? So we know that. So with that, we always provide them with information that we know that we would want, okay? It doesn't necessarily just have to be real estate. It could be about anything that pertains to just homes, right? So home isn't limited to just selling and buying it. No, there's so much more to the home industry. There's design, there's, DIY stuff. How do you paint your house? Hey, you bought your house, so let me help you understand how you should go about painting it, or changing your fence out, right? Or whatever it is. What I'm saying, guys, is if you're an agent, just try to think outside the box. Don't go too far from it, because you're still selling homes. But stay within the home industry and understand that there's so much information that you can give versus just asking the client, do you need to buy a house? Do you need to sell a house?
Be original.
Absolutely be original.
Do native advertising. Do you talk to your client. Really.
But don't always just demand.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the old way of doing it, guys. Demanding for someone to buy a house from me or sell a house is not going to make them want to do it anymore or any less, especially with social media today. People are desensitized and getting so much crap shoved in their face that you just asking now is no longer gonna work. It used to work, right, babe?
Yeah.
I mean, it used to work back in the day with our parents.
Because there was nothing else.
There was nothing else. It was the
Before
only way.
it was a sheet of Joe Schmo to Betty Boop of names on the list, and the person just went through there and
cold
called and picked a name. And now we're so exposed, and with so much exposure, we really have to show ourselves of who we are and how we want to relate to our consumers. And
Absolutely.
the more we can relate to our consumers, our customers, the more somebody now in. It's March now, March 2018. Someone's going to be like, oh, I've been following you since, it's 2020 now. I've been following you for the last 2 years. And I've really been loving and appreciate all the stuff that you've been putting out. And they might become a client.
Absolutely. What about vulnerability? I have a question for you about vulnerability. Agents should link their personal lives with their business. How far, because let's say there's someone out there asking, all right, so I'm going to link my personal life. Okay. What does that mean? Because when we talked it was the last podcast where we said, hey, don't be posting about no Billy, little, your sons or your family and stuff like that. So does this kind of go against that?
Absolutely not. I think it goes hand in hand with it because it goes hand in hand with who you're talking to.
Right.
Are you talking to your families? Are you in LA and you talking to business guys who are driving the Mercedes and who are accountants, and who are you talking to? Because that's who your client is going to be. And I think if you can really relate of who you are and how you can really refine your material and your content that you're putting out there. Contento. I think if you really refine your content that you're putting out on your social media platforms and your advertising and your marketing, that's where you're really going to become who you are. But always brand yourself.
Right.
Don't put a name on something and then come back to you. Put a brand on yourself because that's what's going to sell.
Right. Or even just blur the lines like we do with Leonie. I feel like, when we've gotten people send us a picture of an orange, or like this one girl, she sent me, I thought this was cool. She sent me like this pottery she found and it had like engravings of oranges, and she's like, hey, I don't know why, but I saw it. I thought of you guys. I was like, wow, that like is the biggest compliment you can pay me. Because you're linking Leonie to us and with the story of the orange, and now you thought about us, and that is so great. And I think that's the goal, guys, is that you as an agent want to create an environment in a way on your social media platforms, even in person. When you do your open houses, have you thought about do you just sit there? I mean, I've gone to open houses before starting our business, or even with clients, we've gone to open houses where people are just sitting there. Agents are just sitting, and there isn't any setup. They don't have any waters to offer. They don't get up and greet their clients, et cetera, et cetera. Look, you're not going to make rapport with everyone, okay? That's a given. But at least have enough passion and love for your job to know that you want to go the extra mile of setting up something special for your open houses when people come through, and they feel that warmth and they fall in love with the home just because you have candles and music and you make it this environment that is really pleasing, and that you've actually took the time to do that, right? I mean, how many clients have we actually gotten through through our open houses? We're like, man, we like how you guys set up here. Can you guys sell our house? Yeah. Because we really like that extra effort. We haven't seen that, or whatever it is, right? So what would you add to that?
No, absolutely. I think it goes, again, it's just care. Just like you said, have a passion for what you do, and that passion is really going to carry through your business. And I think that's really goes hand in hand with anything that you do in your life, is that make sure that you are doing something that you love. And with that, everything else is going to get better, and you're going to create a success from that.
Absolutely. All right, babe. So before we wrap this up, you touched on something earlier that I kind of wanted to come back on, is about not posting about religion, politics, race, no sexism. Really nothing that is too biased is ever good to touch on, right? Nothing that's ever too biased is ever good to touch on. So anything that can offend anybody, that could put you on one end or the other, it's never good to really set you aside. Because we always say if you post about, let's say, religion, you're already losing about 50% of your clientele, right? You're already losing people who are perhaps Jewish or Muslim or whatever it is. They may not like you just because of that. So look, here's the thing. Okay. And I heard this on a podcast by Tony Robbins where he said, this is literally there's two things to the secret of how to get someone to like you. They have to either want to be like you, or they have to have something like you. So you have to the only way that you can establish rapport with someone is if you have something in common, or you are like something they want to be like. So if they admire you, if whatever that is. So when you're already out there setting apart yourself with religion, sexism, anything along those lines, politics, you're already losing, people instantly. So don't do that to yourself. Don't use, now if you're personal social media and you're not being careful with that and you don't care, then it's a different story. But when it comes to business, just don't do it, guys. So at the end of all of this, the biggest thing is this, guys. Anybody can see when you're being non-genuine, okay? So always show that you're a human being, first and foremost. Be a human being. Don't be a transaction. Don't be a robot. Don't just be another agent who's a sales guy. Don't be salesy. Don't come off that way. Just be a human being. Find rapport with people. Find common ground. Understand who your client is. And a lot of times make that client someone you understand.
And with that rapport, show your story.
Absolutely.
So why you got into this business, why you care about it. And that goes hand in hand again with the passion. Because with passion, you're going to have a story.
Yeah.
And that's going to show through.
Yep. So as Adam just said, another thing is don't be so polished. Don't be so professional and be afraid to, have to be all tidied up and stuff. And just let loose. Like Adam had said about a beer. If you're drinking beer, and it's okay. We all drink some alcohol. Don't be going crazy. But, just keep it fun. Keep it light. Keep it human. And find out who your target market is. That's
Absolutely.
The biggest thing. All right, guys. So we're going to wrap this up, and we're hoping you guys all are having a happy Sunday, and thank you for listening, and we hope you continue
Absolutely,
to.
guys. Have a happy Sunday.
All right, babe. Bye, guys.